Welcome back to the main stage, everyone. So I am joined by Craig, Adam and Emily from Computacenter, and they've got the next half an hour or so. So please put your questions in the Q&A. I'll be joining towards the end to ask them to the team. But Craig, over to you.
Thanks, Ali. Good afternoon and welcome to our session. We are Computacenter, and I'm here with my colleagues, Emily Knowles and Adam Faber, who will give you an insight into their career journeys at Computacenter so far a little bit later. But firstly, my name is Craig Cobb and I'm the UK Head of Future Talent. And I'm going to give you a whistle-stop tour of Computacenter, so our business, our opportunities and our application processes, which I know is probably some of the biggest questions that we may be facing today. We do welcome questions from you at the end, or come and see us in our employer booth. Myself, Adam and Emily will be in the employer booth straight after this session. But first of all, I'm going to share some slides with you and go through some of the key information about Computacenter. Bear with me. Okay. So who are Computacenter? We are a leading independent technology partner, partnered with huge organizations, global organizations in both the corporate and public sector domain. Basically what we do is we source technology, we manage that technology, and we transform the technology landscape for our customers. So we do those three things: source, manage, and transform. I'm not going to go through everything on this slide. It's our Computacenter on a page, but we were founded in 1981. So it's our 40th birthday this month. And we've grown from a small shop in Swindon to a £6 billion organisation. We're headquartered in the UK in Hatfield in Hertfordshire, and we have offices all around the world, from the USA all the way down to Malaysia. So we've grown exponentially to around 17,000 people. And we have a breadth of skills, including digital workplace, applications and data, cloud and data center, networking and security. But behind that also sits all of the business services that's absolutely necessary to run a £6 billion company. We sell to customers in around 10 countries. The majority are in Europe, but we've just made some big acquisitions in the US, and we're hoping our US business grows exponentially in the next 2 years as well. So we do source, transform and manage technology for our customers in 70 countries worldwide. This map shows the breadth of our scope, from a small office in Swindon to now covering nearly 80% of the globe. We work with some massive organizations. We're always behind the scenes. In fact, many of you would have used our technology, used our services, or even met our people, but not actually known it. The customers that we work with, some really big brands. We reference these because we're very proud to work with these organizations, but we put them in 4 pillars. We put them in within the finance sector, public sector, which has grown hugely in the last 18 months because of the pandemic, industry, and then our technology, retail, and media and services. As I said, many of you may have used these brands, be using these brands at the moment. Sky TV, for example, been to Tesco this morning. We run IT services for these organizations in some way or another. So that's, as I said, a very whistle-stop tour about Computacenter. We are the biggest company you've never heard of. We like to kind of brand ourselves like that. But hopefully now you'll be interested in going to have a little look at our website to see more about us. But what do we have to offer to you? We have this year, I'm very proud to say, our largest number of opportunities for graduates and industrial placements that we've ever had in the last 15 years since we've been running Future Talent programs. All of the jobs are available at jobs.computacenter.com, where all the job adverts are available for more details. So I'm going to look at the graduate programs first. We offer 5 graduate programs this year. 3 are in business and 2 are in technical. We have a professional sales associate program. This is actually a program that might be very aimed at master's students, for example, who may be finishing in December. This is actually a January start in 2022. It's an 18-month professional sales program, and we get you ready to become account managers or sales specialists within our organization. It's our longest standing graduate program out of any of them that we have on offer, and is sponsored by our CEO, Mike Norris. Linking into that, then we move into business management and project management. Business management internally is known as service management to us. So once we've sold a contract to an organisation, we need to run that contract. And that's what business managers do. It's a 9-month fast track program starting in July of next year. Applications are open now and they close on the 31st of December. Moving into project management, similarly, a 9-month fast track program, a 30 grand salary starting in July. But these project managers allow us to move from what we've sold to actually what we deliver. They manage a project from A to B throughout the whole stage of the contract. Applications for this are open now and they close on the 31st December. Emily, who's on the call, is actually on that program and she might give you a little bit more of an insight into her role as a project manager. Then 2 new graduate programs for 2022. We have a technical consultancy role, which is 9 months, starting in July, nationwide, and it's open now, concentrating in network security and data centers. And then we have something very specific towards ServiceNow systems, a technical consultant graduate program. Again, 9-month program starting in January and July with locations in Hatfield and in London. All of these roles are now live on our website and we look forward to seeing some of your applications coming through for those. Moving into industrial placement, similarly, five opportunities. We have an opportunity in sales for a sales business analyst. It's live now, closing on the 31st December. All of our IP programs are 17 grand salary. They're all 13 months long and they all start in July of next year. We have business management, which is what Adam came through. He moved into the more business kind of role. Business management, again, similarly, is about service management to our contracts. Project coordinator is a new IP program for this year. It's basically pipelining for our graduate programs. So we're really excited to see what project coordinators we can get through our business as an IP. And then we've got software development, looking at app development and technical consultancy around our ServiceNow systems. So all of these opportunities are live now. We hope you find those of interest. And I'm now going to pass over. Actually, no, sorry, I'm going to cover off one more thing, sorry. Our application process. Slightly different for graduates as it is for industrial placements, but we've tried to keep it as simple as possible. So first of all, you need to apply with a CV via the jobs.computacenter.com website. You will need to complete some online tests. These do differ per program, but will definitely include a numerical test and could also include a logical or verbal reasoning test. We do require you to submit a pre-recorded video using an external partner of ours called Outreach. It's a 2-minute video answering a couple of questions. Hopefully we're all used to being on screen and speaking to a screen now since having to work from home or study from home for a long time. So that shouldn't be too awkward now. And in some cases, there will be a virtual interview with the business area, moving then into an assessment centre. All of these selection processes happen over through a 3-month window, depending on obviously when you actually apply. For industrial placements, it's a lot simpler. We just require the CV via the website, a pre-recorded video, and then if you get through that stage, you will then move into an assessment centre. Adam and Emily later on will be giving you some advice on how to tackle the pre-recorded video and assessment centre stage for us in our selection process. Okay, that is me done. I'm now going to pass over to Adam and Emily. Over to you guys.
Hello, I'll start, Emily. So just a little introduction to myself. So I'm Adam Faber. As Craig mentioned, I first started on a placement in Computacenter, sort of a bit of a cross between the business management, so looking at services, but then also doing what Emily's going to do in projects as well. So as a combination of that, then went back to university, still continued as a contractor, and then came back as a graduate doing sort of pre-sales. So currently I'm working on sort of deals across the country, mainly focusing on the American and Canadian deals at the moment. So I've been here for about 4 years in total. And yeah, Emily.
My intro is a little bit longer than that, but hope you guys don't mind. So hi everyone, I'm Emily. I joined Computacenter in 2020 on the project management graduate scheme. So November last year, so I've been here almost a year now. A little bit about me. I went to uni in Nottingham and did a degree in business management. and also did a 13-month placement at Hewlett Packard Enterprise as a strategic projects intern. So that kind of gave me a little bit of a flavour of what I wanted to do potentially after finishing uni. I thought I might want to go into project management. So because of that experience, I kind of knew that's where I wanted to head post uni. And with my background in the IT industry, I decided to have a little look online, see what I could find. But then Craig came to our recruitment fair at university, and we got chatting, and he told me a little bit more about the roles at CC, and the project management graduate seemed a good fit. So I decided to apply online, submit my application, do all the tests, do all the interviews, yada yada, and here I am now. So a little more about the scheme, I suppose. So for me, like you guys, it will be a 9-month scheme. And we spent our first month rotating around various different parts of the business, get a feel for what life's like at CC, perfect opportunity to network with other colleagues in different teams, as well as get your head around the corporate structure. We also post rotations got placed on an actual account for one of the customers, working directly with our clients like straight away, which was really great. So first started in the insurance industry, then moved into the postal service, and now I'm a workstream lead on a £2 million server deployment project for one of the UK's largest banks. So just goes to show how varied the role is and how each day is different. So the likelihood is on the project management graduate scheme, you'll be working under a senior project manager for one of our accounts. They'll provide you with all the necessary resources and guidance to be successful within your role. The scheme's quite challenging. You do have a lot of responsibility, but I think that's great. You can tangibly see what you're contributing to. So we're going ahead and helping out the business. Like it's very tangible. It's great. And you also get to develop your project management skills very quickly. But that's looking after project finances, stakeholder management, creating contracts for customers. So it's definitely improved my project management skills since starting. CC also supports our personal development on the scheme, which is great. We get put forward to do our Prince 2 project management qualification, which is kind of standard practice within the PM world, and it's a great thing to put on your CV. We've also got a big network of early careers people. So myself and Adam are part of a group called Fresh Minds, where we host those different socials, pizza nights, cocktail making classes, etc., skills workshops and networking events with our leaders or externally with other partners, which is really nice, and it's been great to kind of use that to settle in as well. That's me done.
Just touching upon what Emily said and reinforcing the fact that when I was on placement and also when I was on my graduate role, both opportunities, they really supported you in regards to, some people asked about qualifications. If you put together a business case and it is relevant to your role, so for example, Prince was very important for the project management role, then there's normally opportunities. But then also the fact that when we start, you normally have a buddy, which is someone on sort of a similar level to what you are, with an opportunity to sort of have someone to ask questions and sort of understand a bit more about the role. When you first start, you may not exactly know what you're going to be doing. And then from there, you then have also a mentor, which is someone who's maybe on a senior level or on a level of your manager, who can give you an opportunity to basically help guide you through your future career and sort of aspirations in work, to then help you get to the right track and go on the right career path. So that's just something to add on to what Emily said there. But that's throughout with your placement, which I had as well, and then also in the graduate role across all the programs, whatever role there is in Computacenter, whether it's sales, project management, or something technical, all of them seem to have the same sort of structure, whether it is the mentor, the budding, and opportunities for you to grow and make sure that you get the right career path. I think the next thing is just touching upon sort of the recruitment process. As Craig mentioned, most of them will have at least a video and an assessment center. So I think when I first did my video, what feels like ages ago now, 5 years ago, I don't know what it is now, it was quite daunting at first. And as Craig said, obviously the fact that we've all been on video and currently on video now, it is a good opportunity for you to practice and stuff like this. So just a couple tips, I guess, in regards to what we did or what we would suggest for when you come to video, because pretty much majority of the applications you're going to do are going to have some sort of video in it. Emily, do you want to start with some?
Yeah, sure. So one of the main tips that I put forward is to have a little go at question spotting before the video interview. Like, you'll often find if you're applying for multiple different roles that the same questions kind of come up over and over again, whether that's the classic "tell me about yourself" question, or "why do you think you'd be a good fit for this role?" So I definitely recommend writing down a few bullets for each of those questions, so everything's fresh in your mind. And if something similar pops up during our video interview process, you can kind of pull that knowledge down straight away, and you've got a nice seamless answer there ready for you already. Also, definitely do your research on Computacenter before the video interviews. You'll want to look out for things like key news stories, customer wins, testimonials of large projects. Just build your understanding of the company. You'll come across a lot more confident and got a good breadth of knowledge about the company and potentially the role before you even start, which is great. And also make sure you practice these answers if you can, either in the mirror or on camera. You might seem a bit batty talking to yourself in your room whilst you're doing that, but trust me, it will help with getting your words out and coming across confident on camera.
One thing I did, I mean, probably not something I want to admit, is I recorded myself on my phone and then played it badly enough to my parents, which didn't go very well, but that's another thing. But yeah, it was a good idea just recording and having an opportunity to really see yourself back and understand sort of even just the surroundings. I mean, obviously I've got my sports stuff around here, but small things like that, when you are setting up for the video interview, make sure you've got a clear background or something that doesn't distract you. I mean, obviously we're now used to being at home, so if you've got a dog walking across, you might want to do it again, but stuff like that, just make sure you're set up and really ready with the questions and the preparation that Emily suggested. The other thing is obviously dress and stuff like this. I mean, it's not as important, it seems to be these days. People are more looking at smart casual and stuff like this, but having a nice at least top half would probably be a good idea. And then the other thing, just the main thing that I think most companies are looking for, they want really to, it's harder in the video, but we'll go into that in the assessment center, but is really trying to get across who you are, your personality. Make sure you smile. Sometimes it's quite hard looking at yourself because you can't see, or you're not sure who you're speaking to, but just try and smile as much as you can, because it really does make a difference when you're reviewing them or having a look at the videos. It portrays a better image of yourself, and try and be, well, as much as you can, what sort of day you've had, but try and be as happy, as enthusiastic about the role as you can, because that really comes through and it really puts across your personality and how interested you are into the role. Looking sort of next on the assessment center, so the main two things that majority of the things you'll be applying for will have, just touching upon the assessment center. So obviously it's a packed out day. Some of them are going to be different. Some of them are sort of over 2 days and have an evening in the beginning and then go across into some sort of events. Normally they'll have sort of group exercises, a presentation, an interview, some sort of icebreaker. So that's sort of in a nutshell what all of them will at least have. But then another thing, just to sort of touch on hints and tips again. Emily, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. So I definitely go into the group task, making sure that you also listen to others as well as putting forward your own opinions. You want to make sure that you're considering the strengths and thoughts of everyone else in the group, as well as voicing your own ideas. So it kind of shows that you're both a good listener and a team player, as well as having your own leadership skills. It's really good to showcase all three of those things at once if you can. Timekeeping is key. If you can, be the timekeeper within the group task. Make sure you bring a watch with you on the assessment day or have your phone ready. Shows how long you'll be able to do each task for, and makes it look like that you've got good time management skills. So then post group task, you'll likely have an interview on the day as well. I think it's really important to try not to be nervous and try to build rapport with your interviewer. Ask some simple questions before you go into the main hard-hitting ones. How was your day? Are you a football fan? What did you think of the scores last week? They were terrible, I know. etc. Build rapport, and it will help you settle into the interview, make you and the interviewee feel so much more comfortable, and you'll come across a lot more confident too.
Completely agree with all those points. I mean, unfortunately for me, Craig was the first person who interviewed me, so that was a great experience. But clearly, I didn't do too badly. Thanks, Craig. But another thing is just sort of when you're coming into the interview, as you're walking in, as you said, try and build the rapport. So ask some sort of generic questions and try and build that relationship with them from the beginning. But then one thing I've sort of gone is when I've gone into interviews, I've sort of had maybe 3 to 5 questions that are sort of generic questions that I can ask them at the end. One I sort of do is in relation to maybe the person, so a bit about their role or something that can sort of show that I'm interested in them. So a question about the company. So let's say, I don't know, what's the company's goals, or well, you should know sort of stuff like that, but a company related question. And then a question about sort of the role itself. So what would a typical day in the life of the role be, or something like this. So sort of those 3 elements, but maybe 3 to 5 questions, really does come across in a way that you're obviously not only interested in the company, in the scheme, but potentially the person who is interviewing you will be your manager. So it shows an interest in the role and the person who potentially could be your manager. So that could help you. The other thing is, again, sort of as I touched upon in the video side, is really with the assessment center, they're really trying to see how you do with group activities, how you work as a team, and also there's potentially a presentation at the end. It may be a bit daunting at the same sort of idea, but similar to the video, just sort of practice in the mirror, do what you can. And the presentation will normally be either on some sort of experience you've had or something about you, why you sort of deserve the role. So if you can do something or some sort of preparation again for that, but just be yourself, make sure you smile, come across in the best possible way, really put across your personality, show them who you are, and then realistically, hopefully you should do as well as you can. I don't know, Craig, if you had any other tips you want to do from your point of view. Other than that, I'm happy to go. There seems to be quite a lot of questions, so thank you for that, and we can start looking at some questions, if that's okay, Craig.
Yeah, absolutely fine. You've covered it off nicely, both of you. Thank you.
Perfect.
Yeah, I fully agree. So hi, everyone. Yeah, thank you so much for all those top tips, like really good amounts of detail in those and some excellent things to really set you up well for the application process. So you are absolutely right, Adam. We've got some great questions coming through, and please keep them coming. I'm going to pick out a couple of specific ones because there were so many hints and tips there about the application process. I believe you said that the initial part of the process is upload a CV, and we've had a question coming through about CVs. So maybe you could elaborate on those a little bit. So the actual question is, how long would you recommend a CV to be? But I guess also any other top tips on how to make your CV stand out in those early stages?
Yeah, some good. I'll kick it off, and then I'll let Emily and Adam maybe comment from their own perspectives. From a generic recruitment perspective, a CV any longer than 2 pages is probably overkill. If you're applying for an industrial placement role and a graduate role, the likeliness of being able to fill 2 pages with meaningful content is questionable. My suggestion is make it as long as it needs to be. Okay. Think about the type of skills that you want to showcase in your CV from either your university degree, your modules, your work experience, whether that be part-time, full-time, in retail, in a restaurant, whatever it may be. Think about what skills do you want to showcase that you learned from those experiences, and then any interests you have that you know might be of interest to that organization. So if you're applying for a technical graduate program, for example, and you have an interest in IT because you take apart computers, you play video games, you're interested in coding like Raspberry Pi, tell us in your CV, because that will just show you have a passion as well as a career aspiration. So no longer than 2 pages, make it relevant to the application you're doing, and don't waffle.
The only thing I was going to add was looking at your universities, or if you've had any previous jobs. What I did originally when I was first applying was I spoke to my university careers team or early careers team, and basically sent them over a copy of my CV, and that sort of was the first initial thing. I think mine was, I don't know, 6 pages. I like to talk a lot, so it certainly got it down a lot, and that helped with the first initial thing. And then going through just trying to make sure you're to the point, everything in there is needed and is valid, and that's sort of the main thing I did.
Great, yeah, thank you both. Yeah, and there's plenty of CV resources out there, and I think really good advice to go and use your university career service as well. They are there to help you out along the journey. So I think, yeah, we've covered most of the application process there, which was really good. And as I say, I really appreciate your honest hints and tips getting through. We had quite a few questions coming in about your Prince 2 qualifications, Emily. That sounded like it really resonated with the students listening in. So there's one about, do you need one in advance? And I'm guessing that, given that you do one, you don't. But then, yeah, can you talk a bit more about the process of getting your Prince qualification?
So it's included in the graduate scheme. It's completely sponsored and supported by Computacenter. So for us, it was a week-long training course, and with 2 exams at the end of it. You don't need the certificate before you start. If you've done it before outside of CC, great, but it's not an essential part of being able to join the graduate scheme. But yeah, it was a great experience and a great qualification to have on your CV.
One thing to just sort of add was when I was on my placement, I had I didn't do a project management type role, but I put together the fact that I wanted to potentially learn a bit more about Prince 2 and learn a bit more about IT. So they put me on some sort of technical courses as well. So again, the options are there. You don't need to have the qualifications before you start, but then if there is something you're interested in and something that there's a good business case or a reason behind it, then it's normally a good option.
And great that you can put yourself forward for these things as well. And then we've had some questions about the home/remote working, and I guess the office as well. So you talked about the recruitment process, and that seems to be largely virtual. So yeah, once you're actually starting, how does the virtual versus office dynamic work?
Yes, good question. I mean, Emily joined in November last year virtually, and we haven't physically met yet. Almost a year later, other than the career fair at Nottingham Trent. So look, Computacenter, like any other organisation, is still working our way out of the troubles or the remote working challenges that any company had. We are an IT company, so we made it work very, very quickly 2 weeks after the pandemic hit. What we're now obviously challenging our staff and our managers to do is to start to think about, okay, what do our customers want? What are our customers doing? Because they are center to our organisation. And at the moment, customers are still quite reluctant in some ways to open their doors to us, let alone some of their customers. So what we're seeing from our graduate programs that have started in July of this year is it's still pretty much remote working. I am extremely hopeful that by July next year, that we will be back to some type of normality of being face-to-face. But we have introduced a hybrid working policy where we do not expect a member of staff to have to be in the office or on a customer site for 5 days a week. We have an expectation that they go where they needed to go, but that doesn't have to be every single day. It's on a case-by-case basis, and our graduate programs and IP programs allow that flexibility to continue. But hypothetically, we don't know what's going to happen in the next 8 months before it starts next year. But that's the way we're working towards. It's very flexible, but there is obviously an expectation that there is some face-to-face at some point.
Great, thank you. And then I've got, conscious of time, probably 2 linked questions to finish. So someone says, now you're working, I guess, more remotely. How does that impact on the number of hours that you would work on an average week? And then someone else has said, does that open up more travel opportunities? So people are really interested to know more about the remote aspects.
All right. So I'm hoping that Adam and Emily will back me up on this. Autonomy is key to any employee at Computacenter. All right. So autonomy to run their own day, run their own diaries, and to manage their own time is absolutely essential. We don't have a clocking in system. We don't do Big Brother is watching. What time do they log on? Which time do they log off? but we work on a global basis. So I've got customers and I've got stakeholders that are based in the US. So sometimes I have to work late at night. Sometimes I have to work really early in the morning because that's part of my job as a senior manager. For graduates, it would pretty much be a standard 9 to 5. But you manage your own time. If you can get your work done in 30 hours instead of 38 hours, well done you. You know, there's no expectation to have to work the 30 hours just to fill it. Opportunities to travel, Ali, is the last thing. I really hope they're going to open up. In terms of our graduate programs, they are a UK-based centered program, both industrial placement and graduates. However, our business management, our consultancy practice, and our project management business areas and sales are global business areas. We have sales teams, business management teams, project management teams in other countries all around the world. I am hopeful that 18 months' time, we can start doing collaboration projects with our Central European partners and maybe even America in the very near future. So yes, but we shall see where that kind of leads us in terms of our future talent programs.
Just to potentially fuel some excitement, I obviously working on the Canadian American deals. So once everything open up, I've been told that I can go to both of them. So that's a good opportunity. But on my placement, I traveled to loads of different places in Europe and stuff like this, and stuff like kickoff events and other events that they do throughout the year are potentially going to be. Berlin, I think, is the next one, but there's loads of sort of events where, because we're such a global and company, there's opportunity that there will probably be an opportunity where you will travel at some point to another country, but if not, there will be, depending on the situation, obviously. But just to sort of suggest that is probably going to happen.
Yeah.
Very exciting. Okay, well, very good way to end. And I think what's come through for me in this whole presentation and Q&A is some really good honesty from you all. So we really appreciate that. And I'm sure that is the thing that people will take away and will help them get through the application process. So Craig, Adam, Emily, we really appreciate your time. And we really appreciate all the questions as well.
Yes.
As per, I didn't manage to go through them all, unfortunately. So please join all three of them in the employer booth now. And we will be back on the main stage at 2 o'clock. So half an hour's time with Arcadis. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.